a pleasure to talk to you, and I really appreciate your interest from Chile in the board games and to talk to me, because I think it's a big objective to help the culture of the board games everywhere in the world. And I think South America has such a great culture. I mean, it has many cultures, of course, yes. And it's such a rich source for board games. And there are not many board games actually created in South America these days, or in Chile at all, yes. So whatever we can do to spread the news and to get people interested is fantastic. My favorite one is always the game or the games I'm developing. So you know that when you develop games, it is important to test it a lot of times. So I play every day, and we play, test, and discuss a lot about the new designs, and it takes many weeks and months to get through the game. So that's the main time I'm playing. Very rarely, actually. Again, it comes down to the same point. Once it's published, for me, they're almost old games when they come out, because we have played them for years before, and therefore I'm already one or two generations further. And when they come out, I will, of course, look at them, I enjoy them, and I will play them to demonstrate them, but they will not be an intense playing unless we decide the game is very successful and we do expansions, or we do something else with it, like a dice game from a card game and so on, and then we would go very intensively. But that is usually only after a while after publishing. Right when they come out, I enjoy them, I put them in the library, but I do not play them a lot. I do play some video games. I do play a lot of games on my smartphone, my iPhone, or on the iPad. You know, well, we all know that the games are moving very, very strongly into the electronic side. So I actually design a lot of hybrid games, which are board games, which combine electronic elements with a classical gameplay. And I also design electronics, so smartphone games. I play quite a number of these games. Again, it's a limiting factor of time, but that's not the relaxation. It is some relaxation. I like to be out in nature. I like to go for walks. I like to find my peace. I like to do some sports on the bike or running. And if I find time, I read a bit, but usually there's not much time to read. I like science fiction, really, not fantasy, science fiction. Really, how could the world be and how will the world be? Because we live in very exciting times where our technology really influences our world. I am a mathematician, I'm a scientist, and certainly that is something which is in my nature and will subconsciously drive my approach. But I'm not doing a mathematical game design. Game construct you cannot calculate, you need to experience. So this is that comes through playtesting. However, before playtesting, there is the phase of where do I get an innovative concept? How do we do an innovative game again? I don't want to repeat myself. So I have learned, for me, it is important to find always a new element to start with. And if I start with something new, it challenges me to come up with new ideas and to integrate it in a new way. And it can be a new technology, it can be a new material, it can be a new mechanism. It can, of course, be a new theme, a new movie, a new character license. And so I need this initial starting point. And then I would try to go some new avenue and challenge myself to find something new. It takes weeks, it's not realistic. It is months, and sometimes it goes over years. I don't think you can sit on one game and simply stay with it and develop it. So I have a number of games in my drawers. I have a drawer for each game which is in development, and I have more than 60 drawers. So of course, you cannot develop 60 games at the same time. The ones which develop nicely are in the foreground. They get played day after day after day. and then they get stuck and they go to the side a bit. And so it's always the one which work best, which come to the front and get developed more. And if they go and get never stuck, then it will be 2, 3, 4, 5 months and they are ready. But more realistically, they get stuck once or more than once, and then they lie there for months to come back to it with a little bit more distance to it and look at it, find a new entry point, and then the development will be a year, 1.5 years, 2 years. Some of the games lie there for years, and I don't know what to do with them because I can't find the right entry point. And then eventually I have to give up. Well, this is one of the complaints of the gamers, because I am a gamer, I started out in doing lots of gamers games. I have simply experienced that even though the gamers are multipliers and they have a loud voice, they are a relatively small group. So my focus these days is more on the mass market, because I think the real challenge is to reach a lot of people and bring enjoyment to many, many people who are not the gamers, and they need simpler games. They need easily accessible games. You know, today we are in a fascinating world. There is more than a billion, 1,000 million people with smartphones in their pockets. Every smartphone has games on them. So we have a completely new population. They are not going to read the 15 or 20 pages of Euphrates and Tigris. They want to open the game and play it. And this doesn't mean these games are simpler, but these games are not simplistic. They can be and you need to do a lot of good design. They can be very entertaining, they can be very challenging, they can be very mind expanding. And this is the real challenge, to do simple games which are fun and which are really rewarding. The first thing is, if you start, do not expect to earn money. So do not give up your day job. Make sure that you have a secure source of income. And then game design is not about money initially. It is about finding your own way, understanding what you like, and trying to design these games, and then finding trustworthy publishers who will not steal your idea, but who will promote you, will help you, and usually that is small publishers. If you start, you're too small against the big publishers of this world. They don't recognize you, they didn't treat you well. So a small publisher, I started with a small publisher, which is Hans im Glück. In the meantime, Hans im Glück is big, and I'm a bit bigger as well, but I learned a lot from them. And for the small publisher, every game counts. They will put their heart into every game, and I think when you start with your first designs, a small publisher looks much better after your games, gets out a good game, and all you need initially is just get a few designs published. Doesn't matter if they are printed 500 times or 500,000 times. You need to have some references so that people can see what you have done, and on this you can build and move further. Well, thank you very much for your interest. I am really delighted to be able to speak to the Chilean friends and board game lovers, and I really send my regards to this wonderful part of the world, and I wish you lots of enjoyment with my and with other people's games, and that they will really fill your heart. Thank you.